Hey guys, welcome back to Inchworm Gardens. Today is October 19th, 2021. I'm here in Tennessee and it is a beautiful fall day, 60 degrees Fahrenheit. It was actually in the high 30s when I woke up this morning, pretty wild, but it makes sense because we're only a couple days away from our average first frost date. That means anywhere from the 21st to the 31st we could and will historically receive freezing temperatures. That means that's going to kill off pretty much everything that I have growing in my garden. I do have a few frost-hardy things that will survive, but this is pretty much the end of the growing season for me here. So I just want to take this time to show you what the garden looks like now, because this could be one of our last looks at it. So I'm going to give you a quick tour, show you everything we got growing on here. All right, let's get started. So this hyacinth bean vine trellis is really filled out. Got a lot of these nice purple pods. Pretty flowers that the bees are still enjoying. We did have to trim it a bit because it's coming down quite a bit. I have to duck down here. But check this out. You get this cool little secret space in here. Duck down into the garden. Here's something I planted recently. It's a type of honeysuckle. Got these really pretty pink flowers with the orange in the middle. So planted to have that grow up the trellis there, look real nice. Here's where I had our Mexican sunflowers. Still getting some pretty blooms. Had a few fall over, but they're actually still growing and making flowers, so I didn't cut them down. There's the entrance to the garden. There's a chicken butt. Hey girls. Quick comment on this chicken chunnel. I'm very happy with it. As you can see, it's just this little tunnel that runs all along the front of the garden into the coop here. So it just gives the chickens some more space to run around and forage. So that's a really neat little feature. I'm really happy with our chicken setup this year. I like how this just kind of frames the garden here. Alright, carrying on through the trellis. Okay, so the first thing we have here is this wall of long beans. These have been super productive. We've been harvesting a ton of them, eating them up. This is a really nice bean. It's actually a cow pea, so it's related to the black-eyed pea, but it grows super well here in the southeast. Likes the warm weather, does really well. Of course, when that freeze comes, it's gonna pretty much be done, but just look at this, tons of beans. And the leaves have been really good for feeding the chickens. So everything here is edible, but we just harvest it for these nice bean pods. So that's been a great crop. So down here I do have some frost hardy greens. This is the Chiji Masai and Tatsoi. So that will survive the freeze. So we'll get some greens into the winter. Now I should have been better about it and planted more, but I really didn't. So we may not have a ton of greens, but we will have some, like this kale. That will carry on through the freezing temperatures. But should have done more. This is a new thing. Check this out. I put in one of these cattle panel trellises. Not much growing up it this year because I put it in pretty late, but next year I'm planning to grow melons and different things all along here. Got some more kale. This is the curled Scotch variety. And I did do another planting of kale here. It's not getting a ton of sunlight, so it's still pretty small, but hopefully that will give us a little harvest into the winter. Butternut squash. Didn't do much this year. I really just need to, I don't know, I think it's because it was in the 5-gallon bucket. It just didn't do as well. Also, I think it didn't get quite enough sunlight over here, so I'm going to switch gears on that next season. This bed did well. Okra. We had a lot of okra, still getting these nice pods. Another great crop that grows well in this region. It loves the high heat. That's been pretty nice. A couple of others over there. And this bed's pretty much done. Had some carrots and various things, but that's pretty much it for that. These dahlias have been really nice. Oh, look at this little honeybee. Hey guy. Unfortunately, don't see a ton of those around here. As we know, they're declining in numbers, so growing flowers, growing food for the bees is always a great thing that you can do for the environment. Here's our little basil patch. Basil did good for us this year, made a lot of good pesto. Gotta say, this was the cardinal basil, which is supposed to have these nice big flowers, which I guess it does have some, but it was not as prolific, just didn't do as well as I was expecting. And look, they're quite hidden. You see, you can't even see them in there. But there you go. Still very pretty. Smells good. Tastes great. Has a real like anise, that licorice flavor. This is the lime basil. Always does really well. The purple basil. And this is our holy basil. It's a real nice herb. This fennel doing really well. This hosted a lot of swallowtail caterpillars, so we saw a ton of butterflies this season. So that's always really nice as well. I love having plants and flowers for the insect life as well. It's really nice. This was a fall planting I did of purple broccoli and a different kind of broccoli. So hopefully those will continue growing through the cold season as well. Here's a cosmos, beautiful flower. Oh, here's another cool little thing we built. Check this out, this chicken tower. So we connected it to that chicken tunnel in the front, connects to here, and you can feed the girls right here from the garden. Isn't that cool? Hey, let me grab you something. Can't tease you like that. So here's the long beans I mentioned. I read that this is great animal fodder. You can feed it to your animals. We only have chickens, so that's what we're using it for, but you can just pull these leaves off, and they love them. All right, so we'll take them over to the chicken tower. I even put in different roosts, so look, you can have them jump up. Here you go. Alright, fine, I won't make you work for it too hard. There you go, ladies. So that's a fun little addition. This is our cinnamon basil, growing really well. Just keeps going. Beautiful purple flowers. Okay, check this bed out. Man, let's see. This was touch-me-not flowers. The cool thing with these is they have these seed pods that literally like explode when you touch them, and they send seeds out everywhere. So look at how many plants I have. This is a reseeding. So I planted, I think we had maybe 12 plants in this little corner. They all grew and flowered very nicely, and then released all of their seed pods. And then there's probably 100 plus plants in here now. This is all from just reseeding this year. So we're getting a second crop, a second flowering of these touch-me-not flowers. So that is a really, really cool flower to grow. Even came over here. All right, so coming around, here's our little herb circle here. You can see it's all kind of spilling out. This is oregano, thyme, our lemon balm, parsley. So the herbs have done really well. And this tower was strawberries. These were Sweet Charlie strawberries. They're done now. This is my first year growing strawberries, and it's really cool to see how these things send out these runners. So we have a main plant here, and look, it sends out this little vine that has another little plant right there, another plant right here. So they're trying to spread out and plant themselves in the ground that way, which is really cool. I've let some of them go, but I have been trimming others. All right, this is the tomato wall. Of course, we are past the prime of the tomatoes. We are still getting some, but most of them are just kind of falling to the ground, getting eaten by the bugs. But there's still some nice ones there. I stopped feeding the tomatoes and pretty much the whole garden by mid-June. I think if I would have kept up regular fertilizing, I would have had better results. But these tomatoes just pretty much burned out. They don't have enough nutrients or whatever to keep going strong. So that's something I could improve next year. Here's some beautiful marigolds. This butterfly pea flower. That's a really nice one. That did well in this little corner growing up the chicken coop. All right, now let's take a look at this bed. This is something else. This giant plant is one plant, and it is the Schoenbrunn Gold Ground Cherry, Physalis peruviana. Huge plant. I did not realize it got that big, so it's kind of spilling over and consuming my peppers along here, which is not ideal because they're getting choked out a little bit. But let me show you what we got. Okay, so Thai basil growing here, really nice, doing very well. Here's our poblano peppers. So these guys are basically just reaching out wherever they can to fight for the light because they were just getting a bit smothered by this big greedy guy who has been producing some nice fruit. These are really tasty, sweet, big ground cherry type, but I don't know if it's worth the sacrifice of all these pepper plants. See, I have my Sugar Rush peach in here. You know what, they are still growing, so it's not a complete loss, but they would be doing better if they had more light. Sugar Rush peach, the purple Murasaki pepper, and then, oh, here we go. This is the Puma hot pepper. These are really tasty, very hot, but really nice flavor. Glad to see we have quite a bit still growing here. Yeah, very nice. We did do a couple of good hot sauces with these, which were really tasty. So it's amazing to me just how plants adapt. You know, they know what they need to do to survive. They grow differently. You know, they'll reach out, like this poblano, reaching out to the front to get to the sunlight. Just amazing. I'm gonna come around the other side. There's the poblano. Here's the big greedy ground cherry, Schoenbrunn Gold. And inside here is some lemongrass that actually did really well. That's a really nice herb. Just made some tea with it the other day. But yeah, just a bit of a mess. What else do we have? These zinnias have been doing well. Still flowering all season long. Ooh, I was just talking about the swallowtail butterfly. Look at this. There's one right there. Let's see if we can get a picture of this. Oh yeah. Gorgeous. Hey guy, there's a good chance that he had his entire life cycle right here in our garden. Now he's coming back. Good to see you again. I'm gonna go around to the side of our house to show you another crop that did surprisingly well this year. That's our roselle. So this is the roselle plant. It's a type of hibiscus. Has these beautiful yellow flowers. Unfortunately, I don't see any fully opened right now. But it's grown for these. The calyx of the flower. So, see how nice and bright red that is? So this can be used in teas and jams and jellies. So once the flower drops out, you have this calyx that's left behind, and it eventually turns into the seed pod. There's one down here, yeah, so you can see the seed pod emerging there, and that will dry out and we can save some seeds. I tried growing this last year and all the flowers just kept falling off. I thought that was going to be the case this year, but sure enough it started flowering late in the season, and look at it now, it's doing really well. That's a cool plant. It's all edible, tastes like cranberries. The leaves have a nice kind of lemony flavor to them. Oh yeah, here's our lychee tomato. Still doing good. Still producing fruit. This is a real thorny plant, so that's why I have it on the side of my house so we don't get poked. But it does make some nice fruit. And that's pretty much the whole garden. Man, it's crazy. The season is almost over. It's a little bittersweet, you know. Of course, I wanted to keep going, but I'm also ready for the change, ready for the rest period. The soil needs the rest period. The gardener needs the rest period. It's all part of it. You got to flow with the seasons. So we're going to be doing some like fall cleanup in the gardens, re-amending the soil. I am going to do some more videos on some specific varieties that I haven't done yet that I want to showcase. So stay tuned. Appreciate you guys being here. Thanks so much. I'll catch you on the next one.